For the 8th year with the big shot from Beijing's elite circle, I was pregnant and tentatively asked him if he would marry me. He looked gentle but spoke with sarcasm. Be good, don't make a fuss. You should understand, the daughter of a nanny isn't qualified to marry into the Lucien family. A few days later, he publicly announced his engagement to a socialite from Beijing's elite circle who had once bullied me. When I left, he didn't stop me, only coldly said, "Have you thought it through? If you leave today and regret it someday, I won't take you back." But 2 months later, it was he who regretted it first. That day was my wedding. He stormed in with his men, furious, and demanded, "Vienna, how dare you carry my child and marry someone else?"
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
My mother was the nanny of the Lucien family. I had been Lucien's follower since childhood. Knowing our statuses were worlds apart, I never dared to hope for anything more. Yet at 17, under the cherry blossom tree, when Lucien gently held and kissed me, I couldn't help but fall for him. After coming-of-age ceremony, in his bedroom, we secretly crossed the line. When his mother knocked to deliver nightly milk, Lucien deliberately intensified his movements. He whispered teasingly in my ear, "If you don't want to be found out, keep your voice down." His mother held strong views on social status. If she found out about us, who knew what trouble would follow? I was terrified, but the pleasure was overwhelming. So, I bit down hard on Lucien's shoulder. 8 years passed in a blur. The bite mark still remained on Lucien's shoulder. And I was still hidden from the light. Not even considered his girlfriend. When others asked about me, he would only introduce me as, "She's like a little sister to me." I knew all too well he would never marry me. So, I had planned to pack up and leave when he entered his arranged marriage. But now I was pregnant. I wanted to fight for the baby inside me. That night, as soon as Lucien returned, he pulled back the covers and woke me. Worried about the baby, I tried to refuse. But the moment I pushed him away, he frowned. "Vienna, I don't like it when you refuse me." In bed, he had always been domineering. Considering I had a favor to ask, I finally withdrew my hand and let him have his way. In the midst of it, when he saw me covering my abdomen, his large hand also pressed there. His voice hoarse as he asked, "Did it hurt you?" My voice broke. "Yes, a little." He kissed my earlobe. "Then I'll be gentler." And true to his word, he slowed his pace. These occasional glimpses of tenderness always made me feel he cared for me too. Satisfied and lazy, he leaned against the headboard and reached for a cigarette. Seeing he was in a good mood, I cautiously seized the moment to speak. "Lucien, if we had a child, would you consider marrying me?" Holding the cigarette, he twirled my hair, his eyes gentle as he looked at me. "If you're pregnant, then have the baby." These words, without a doubt, made hope flare in my heart. But the next moment, he ruthlessly sent me into despair. "My child must carry the Lucien name, but marrying you is impossible." His tone was soft, yet every word was mocking. "Vienna, you should understand, the daughter of a nanny isn't qualified to step through the Lucien family's doors." This answer was no surprise. But my heart still ached uncontrollably. I held back tears, took a deep breath, and barely managed to say, "I'm not really pregnant, I was just joking." He gently ruffled my hair, as if comforting a misbehaving pet. "Vienna, be good, don't be greedy. Aside from the title of Mrs. Lucien, I can give you anything else you want." But I knew I would never get what I truly wanted. I couldn't have him. And I couldn't keep the child either. I would never let my child be born out of wedlock. After that night, Lucien didn't return for several days. When the news of his upcoming marriage to Serena spread, I learned he had been accompanying her to look at wedding venues and dresses. In photos sent by a friend, Serena was smiling cheerfully. Lucien, looking down at her and listening intently, actually seemed somewhat doting. Suddenly finding it hard to breathe, almost without thinking, I rushed to the Lucien group building. I wanted to ask Lucien why, even if he had to marry, out of all the women in the world, it had to be Serena. Unlike my breakdown, Lucien was completely composed. It was arranged by the elders. Her family background, education, and capabilities are all decent. I had no reason to refuse. Tears welled in my eyes, my voice trembling unsteadily. "Lucien, Have you forgotten what Serena did to me? Even today, I still remember how vicious Serena's beautiful face looked when she held my head underwater at age 16. Back then, though Lucien and I were just master and follower, I was the only girl who could get close to him. So after Serena repeatedly confessed to Lucien and was rejected, she took her anger out on me. She and her friends cornered me in the restroom. They cut my hair, stripped me to take photos, and threatened me fiercely. If you dare seduce Lucien again, I'll make sure your photos are all over the internet. That day, when I appeared before Lucien with my hair messily cut, his face immediately darkened. Who did this? Tears fell one after another. I sobbed helplessly. Lucien, I don't want to go to school with you anymore. Lucien, always clever, quickly connected the dots. He wrapped his arms around me, patting my back. Vienna, don't be afraid, I'm here. About half a month later, Lucien told me all the photos had been destroyed. Serena had dropped out and was confined to her home by her parents, not allowed to go anywhere. Later, I heard Serena had developed depression from being confined and went abroad to study and recover. All these years, Lucien had protected me so well that I had long forgotten the incident. But I never expected Serena to reappear in my life in this way. Now, Lucien was no longer the righteous youth who stood up for me. He calmly said to me, Serena did make mistakes back then, but she has already been punished accordingly. She was young and didn't know better. She's grown a lot over the years, realized her errors, and has apologized to me many times for you. Vienna, it's been so many years. You don't need to cling to the past. Move forward. In that moment, I couldn't help but wonder if Lucien had ever truly loved me. Otherwise, how could he say something so cruel? My heart spasmed in pain. I trembled uncontrollably. Noticing my state, he stepped forward to hug me, sighing helplessly. Vienna, Serena and I are only marrying for business. There are no feelings involved. You don't need to mind her. Just stay quietly by my side. I can guarantee she won't hurt you again in the future. I understood what he meant. He wanted me to be his mistress. I pushed him away bitterly, choking up. Lucien, I'm not that cheap. His expression suddenly turned cold. What do you mean? I just felt utterly exhausted. Let's break up. Perhaps not expecting me to suggest a breakup, Lucien stared at me coldly. After a long pause, he let out a sudden cold laugh. You're just a shameful plaything. We were never together in the first place. What breakup is there? He truly knew how to inflict the most pain. Each word was like a sharp blade, stabbing me until I was bruised and breathless with agony. I swallowed hard, barely managing to say, Then let's leave it at that. Let it end here. I no longer cared how he saw me. From now on, I would not love him anymore. I turned to leave. As I reached the door, his cold voice came from behind. Vienna, have you really thought it through? If you leave today and regret it someday, I won't take you back. I didn't look back or stop. It took me half a month to emerge from the emotional low of the breakup. Then, I went to the hospital for an abortion. But as fate would have it, the doctor said due to my physical condition, if I had an abortion, I might never conceive again. Because I loved children dearly, after careful consideration, I chose to keep the baby. Lucien said his child must carry the Lucien name. I was afraid he would try to take the child from me if he found out. To ensure everything was secure, I decided to marry someone to provide cover for me and the child. Before I could even think about where to find a trustworthy man willing to be a father to my child, Kyle offered himself up. Kyle, my junior from university. With stunning features, 8-pack abs, a key player on the basketball team, and a regular on the school's crush wall, he was extremely popular. He had pursued me for quite a while. But back then, my heart was full of Lucien. I couldn't see anyone else, so I turned him down. I was about to ask how he knew about my situation when my phone buzzed with several messages. It was from my best friend. Hey, have you seen Kyle? He's always held a torch for you. Since you need someone now, I thought Kyle would be perfect, so I tipped him off. Don't be foolish and reject him again. He's such a great guy. Full of energy and really devoted. Precisely because Kyle liked me, I didn't want to use him. Are you sure? You're only 24. Marrying me means giving up the exciting single life. Is it worth it? He said firmly. There's no question of worth. I'd do anything for you willingly. I was still hesitant. Can you treat my baby as your own and cherish them? He raised an eyebrow, took a document from his backpack, and handed it to me. Sis, I've already had a vasectomy. Your child will be the only child I ever have. He had even thought of this. It was incredibly considerate. I truly had no reason to refuse. All right, let's get married. Kyle's eyes instantly lit up. He exclaimed excitedly, Really? Thank you. I nearly laughed. You're helping me. Why are you thanking me? He scratched his head sheepishly. You're giving me the chance to take care of you. Of course I should thank you. He always kept a crew cut, making his features appear even sharper. But when he was shy, he looked rather adorable. I couldn't help but smile. Both sets of parents quickly set the wedding date. Coincidentally, it was the same day as Lucien and Serena's wedding. Just over a month ago, I had been dreaming of marrying Lucien. Now, we were indeed getting married on the same day, but as someone else's groom and bride. How unpredictable life could be. But I wasn't sad anymore. Lucien and I were never from the same world. Going our separate ways was only natural. That day, after trying on wedding dresses, Kyle and I went to a private restaurant for dinner. On the way to the restroom, I unexpectedly ran into Serena. Seeing her beautiful yet vicious face, I instinctively stepped back. But Serena smiled and raised her hand, flaunting the diamond ring on her finger. Vienna, you clung to Lucien for over a decade, but in the end, he's marrying me. You're so pathetic, a loser. I didn't want to argue with her. It was pointless. I tried to walk around her, but she blocked my path. In such a hurry? Shouldn't old friends catch up? I was genuinely repulsed by her. Can you just stay away from me? She smiled. Sure, but first, do me a favor. With that, she suddenly grabbed my hand and slapped her own face with it. Then she fell to the ground, pretending to be pushed, and began to cry. Vienna, I know I wronged you back then. If you hit or scold me now, I deserve it. She used to be openly nasty, but now she had learned to act. I was stunned by her series of actions. Just then, Lucien hurried over from behind me, helped Serena up and frowned. What happened? Serena cried, tears and snivel mixing. I ran into Vienna and wanted to apologize for what happened, but she suddenly hit me. Lucien looked up abruptly, his gaze cold as he stared at me. Even if Serena bullied you, she's already been punished. Vienna, must you be so aggressive? He frowned and commanded condescendingly, apologize to Serena. I was so angry my chest felt tight. She set this up herself. It has nothing to do with me. I won't apologize. I tried to leave, but Lucien grabbed my wrist and shoved me back. Vienna! My back hit the wall. Pain brought tears to my eyes, and I gasped softly. Looking up, I saw Serena smirking with triumph and provocation. Meeting Lucien's icy dark eyes, I felt utterly wronged and repeated through gritted teeth. I did nothing wrong. I won't apologize. I said if you don't apologize, you're not leaving, he said grimly, reaching for me again. Suddenly, an arm intervened, separating Lucien from me. Mr. Lucien, manners are a good thing. I suggest you learn some. Keep your hands off my girlfriend, or I won't be polite. Lucien stared at Kyle, who was shielding me, and his brow furrowed instantly. His voice was cold and deliberate. Girlfriend? Kyle didn't deny it. Lucien turned back to me, his eyes sharper than I'd ever seen, sending chills down my spine. Vienna, it's only been a few days, and you've already found someone else. Are you that desperate? Can't you live without a man? His words were cruel and clear. If you like being played by men so much, you should have told me earlier. I have some buddies who are interested in you. I'll have them all play with you together. Lucien ruthlessly taunted me with the vilest language. I trembled with rage. Lucien, you bastard! Kyle couldn't hold back anymore and threw a punch. With a mouth that foul, why don't you just die? The two of them started fighting. In the end, neither came out unharmed. Both had bruises on their faces. I anxiously checked Kyle's injuries. Does it hurt? Your cheekbone is bruised. How will you look at the wedding in a few days? Kyle shook his head. It doesn't hurt. He looked at me apologetically. Sis, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gotten hurt before the wedding. I'll put medicine on it tonight and try to heal before Saturday. It's not your fault, I said, glaring angrily at Lucien. He's the one to blame. Lucien was also looking at me, his eyes full of disbelief as he demanded sharply, "You're marrying Kyle?" Now I had no patience for him. "So what? What's it to you?" Kyle added. "Exactly, Mr. Lucien. You should worry about your own mouth and your fiancé." Hearing this, Serena pretended to be wronged again, linking her arm with Lucien's. "Lucien, don't listen to him. I'm not a green tea bitch." Lucien ignored Serena but didn't push her away either. His sharp gaze swept over Kyle and me. After a moment, his lips curled into a scornful smile. "Whether you get married or not is none of my business. After all, I've been playing with Vienna for 8 years. I'm long tired of her. Kyle, since you like taking my leftovers, I'll give her to you." His words ignited Kyle's anger again. Worried things might escalate, I stopped Kyle from throwing another punch. "Don't." Kyle suppressed his anger and obediently stepped back. I turned and slapped Lucien hard across the face. "Lucien, I truly regret ever loving you." His face turned from the force. His expression grew even colder as he mocked me mercilessly. "Wasn't it you who wore lingerie to please me? Wasn't it you who insisted on staying with me without any status? Vienna, if you like being cheap, who can you blame?" Those intimate moments from the past had become my criminal record. I felt deeply humiliated. Swallowing the pain in my throat, I said with difficulty, "Yes, it was me who was cheap, but not anymore. Lucien, I don't love you anymore. From now on, we go our separate ways." Without waiting for Lucien's dark response, I took Kyle's hand and left. Back in the private room, the tears I had been holding back finally fell. I had thought Lucien and I could part on good terms. I never expected him to humiliate me publicly like that. Even though I had no expectations left for him, I still felt deeply wronged and ashamed. Kyle carefully wiped my tears. "Don't cry, sis. Lucien was never any good. You've escaped a living hell. From now on, you'll walk a bright path. You should be happy." After thinking, I felt I should remind Kyle. I was with Lucien for 8 years. We did everything appropriate or not. Kyle, are you really okay with that? If it bothers you, we can call off the... Before I could finish, he urgently interrupted. "I don't mind." He held my hand, speaking earnestly. "Being with a scumbag wasn't your fault. You just misjudged him. Let the past stay in the past. From now on, the 3 of us will live well together." I had indeed been blind before. To think Lucien had any decency, to have fallen so deeply for him. Only today did I finally see his true nature. He was despicable and extreme, utterly unworthy of my love. Looking back, although there were sweet moments over the past 8 years, it had been hard for me. With Lucien, I had to be obedient and submissive, always putting his thoughts first. I couldn't be jealous or make things difficult for him. If he was unhappy, I had to rack my brains to comfort him. If he ignored me, I would lie awake all night in distress. I was like his accessory. All my emotions depended on him. In contrast, being with Kyle was much easier. I didn't need to guess Kyle's thoughts or act according to his preferences. He didn't need me to comfort him because he seemed to have no temper around me. He treated me very well. Knowing I couldn't stand smoke, he quit smoking outright. To take good care of me and the baby, he read parenting books every day, searched for mom tips online, and took extensive notes. He even skipped friends' gatherings to come home and be with me after work. After over a month together, I felt that spending my life with Kyle might be a very good choice. I held Kyle's hand and said sincerely, "Kyle, although what I feel for you isn't love yet, just some fondness. After marriage, I will work hard to develop feelings for you. Are you willing to stay with me?" The curve of his lips softened. His gaze burned as he looked at me, whispering gently, "I'm willing. Whether in this life, the next, or the one after, I will always be willing to stay with you." I smiled through tears. In the club's private room, friends were joking around. Only Lucien sat silently in the corner, drinking glass after glass, exuding a cold aura. Ever since learning days ago that Vienna was marrying Kyle, he had been in this lifeless state. To be precise, his mood hadn't been good since Vienna suggested breaking up. He believed he had treated Vienna quite well. Aside from status, he had given her almost everything. Houses, cars, bags, jewelry, she lacked nothing. His first love, first kiss, first time, all belonged to her. All these years, he had only had her. He ignored all other women who threw themselves at him. Even during business engagements, at most he would share a drink, but never pretend interest. In their circle of power and wealth, few could match his restraint. Those other guys always had multiple partners, constantly changing. Yet Vienna remained unsatisfied. She actually dared hope to marry him. With her background, how could she ever step into the Lucien family? In their class, alliances were about strengthening power, never about lifting others up. He did have feelings for Vienna. But those feelings weren't enough to make him defy his family. Serena was chosen by the patriarch. Initially, he had hesitated. After all, Serena had once bullied Vienna. But upon meeting Serena again, he found her much changed. No longer as arrogant as before. She seemed graceful and gentle. She repeatedly apologized for the past. She also said she had someone else. The marriage was forced. She said if Lucien agreed to marry her, they could each see others, not interfering. They were in the same boat, sharing similar views on marriage. Marrying an ally was better than marrying someone who'd meddle. So, Lucien agreed. At the time, he thought Vienna would understand his choice. After all these years, she had been obedient and sensible, always putting his interests first. It never occurred to him that Vienna would suggest breaking up. This was the first time she had defied him. Furious, he spoke without thinking, saying whatever was most hurtful. Vienna left without hesitation. He felt as if a part of his heart had been ripped out, empty and lost. Waking at midnight, unable to touch the familiar person beside him, he felt lonely and desolate. He wanted Vienna to return. But he wouldn't say it. He would only keep it inside. Because the proud and arrogant Lucien had never bowed to anyone. How could he lower himself to beg a woman for reconciliation? Unless Vienna returned on her own. Otherwise this was how it would be. 3 days ago at the restaurant, Lucien didn't believe a word of Serena's accusations against Vienna. He knew Vienna too well. She wasn't scheming, she was simple and kind, incapable of hitting and scolding Serena. So, Serena must have lied. He immediately felt disgusted with Serena. He had thought Serena had changed, but it was all an act. At her core, she was still that spoiled, vicious rich girl. But he still chose to defend Serena. Because he was angry that Vienna had left so decisively. He hated that Vienna could so easily discard their years together. He deliberately made things difficult for her, demanding an apology. He thought if Vienna would just once, he would immediately embrace her and say he believed her, that he still wanted her. But she didn't. What was worse? She was getting married. She said she didn't love him anymore. Blind with rage, he lashed out again, each word like a knife stabbing her heart. He thought since she made him suffer, she shouldn't have it easy either. But seeing her humiliated, on the verge of tears, brought him no satisfaction, only oppressive heaviness. The clock struck 4 a.m. Lucien downed his last glass. He called for the server to bring more drinks. One of his friends tried to persuade him. Lucien, you have a wedding this morning. Stop drinking. If you're wasted, how will you attend? Mentioning the wedding made Lucien even more irritable. Just thinking about Vienna marrying someone else today made his heart feel like it was burning, suffocating him. His most understanding friend, Chang Yuxing, sighed and advised. If you really can't let Vienna go, you should try to win her back now, while there's still time. Once she's really married, it'll be too late. Even though he was tormented, he still stubbornly said, she can marry whoever she wants. Does she think I can't live without her? Chang Yuxing was exasperated. Young master, stop being stubborn, all right? How much you care about Vienna. Do you think I don't know? He dropped a bombshell. My little birdie said she saw Vienna at the gynecology department yesterday. Lucien froze. Chang Yuxing continued. Vienna might be pregnant. How far along isn't clear. You can have someone check. If she was pregnant before you broke up, it's definitely yours. Lucien suddenly remembered their last time together before parting. Vienna had asked him if he would marry her if she were pregnant. Could it be she had already known then and was testing him? Lucien didn't know how to feel. He was excited, anxious, and also angry. Of course he wanted a child with Vienna. But if it was his child, how dare she let another man be its father? He called his assistant, saying sternly, "Get Vienna's medical records immediately." The assistant wanted to cry. In the middle of the night, was he being treated like a workhorse? 11 a.m. In the hotel's bridal suite, I stood before the mirror in my wedding dress. Fortunately, I was slim. At 3.5 months pregnant, it wasn't obvious and didn't affect how the dress looked. The slight bulge in my abdomen seemed more like I'd simply eaten a big meal. Reassured, I prepared to sit and rest. Suddenly, the door opened from outside. Thinking it was Kyle, I turned with a smile. "You're here." But upon seeing who it was, I froze. I couldn't understand why Lucien, who was also getting married today, was here. Frowning, I asked warily, "What are you doing here?" His expression was dark as he stepped closer. Sensing danger, I backed away and warned him, "Stay back or I'll call for help." He ignored me, grabbing my left wrist and demanding coldly, "Vienna, how dare you carry my child and marry someone else?" My heart skipped a beat. I instinctively denied it. "You're mistaken, I'm not pregnant." He just sneered, "If you dare let my child call Kyle dad, I'll make sure Kyle pays. Believe me." His madness frightened me. "Lucien, have you lost your mind?" "Yes, I have." He tried to drag me out. "You're coming with me today." "I won't let you marry Kyle. Let go of me." I struggled desperately, panic rising. But his grip was too tight to break free. In my panic, my right hand found a vase. Without thinking, I swung it at Lucien's head. A loud crash followed, and blood gushed from his wound. Dizzy from the blow, he staggered, his grip loosening. I quickly stepped back. Lucien turned to look at me, disbelief written all over his face, his voice trembling. "Vienna, you hit me?" Blood streamed down, covering half his face, a terrifying sight. I said angrily, "You brought this on yourself. Even if you die, it's your own fault." He looked wounded, almost aggrieved. "You wish I were dead? Do you hate me that much?" "I don't hate you," I said coldly, staring at him. "Hatred requires love. To me, you're no different from a stranger now." His expression fell, his voice hoarse. "Vienna, how did we end up like this?" I had no interest in discussing the past. I walked toward the door. But upon opening it, 4 bodyguards blocked my way. Startled, I turned to glare at Lucien in disbelief. "Are you trying to kidnap me? This is illegal." He smiled bitterly, self-mocking. "Sorry, but this is the only way I can keep you." He nodded to the bodyguards. "Take Miss Vienna away immediately." The bodyguards replied, "Yes." Lucien ultimately failed to take me away, because Kyle and the groomsmen arrived just in time. The scene was chaotic. Bodyguards and groomsmen fought fiercely, neither side gaining the upper hand. They only stopped because Lucien lost too much blood and fainted. The bodyguards, worried about his condition, ceased fighting and rushed him to the hospital. Kyle anxiously checked me over. Seeing I was unharmed, he relaxed. He held my hand, apologetic. "Sis, I'm sorry. I was outside greeting guests and didn't know what happened here." "It's not your fault." Who could have predicted Lucien would go mad, abandoning his own wedding to disrupt mine? Without Lucien as an obstacle, the rest of the wedding proceeded smoothly. After a long, exhausting day, I collapsed onto the sofa upon returning home. Kyle volunteered, "Sis, let me massage your feet to help you relax." "You know how to massage feet?" I was genuinely surprised. "I learned from a master," he said. Kyle was indeed a good student. His skills were excellent. It felt so soothing that I dozed off. When I woke an hour later, Kyle was tidying the room. The cluttered coffee table and bookshelf were now neat and organized. I couldn't help but admire. "You're incredibly capable." He smiled. "From now on, you just rest. Leave the housework to the nanny and me." Kyle had hired 4 nannies to care for me. I thought it was excessive. Isn't that too much? It's a waste of money. We're perfectly capable. We can handle most things ourselves and just hire a part-time helper. But Kyle insisted. "It's necessary. You're pregnant and need plenty of rest." You mustn't overexert yourself. Don't worry about the cost. The more you spend, the more motivated I am to earn. Kyle was highly capable at work. During university, he co-founded a gaming company with friends. Several games they launched were well received and quite profitable. In terms of income, he was already among the top earners of his peers. Since he insisted, I didn't argue further. I took the warm milk he offered, drank it, and went to rest. I wasn't surprised when Lucien appeared before me again. The moment I saw him, I dialed 110 on my phone. I warned him. Lucien, if you try to kidnap me again, I will call the police. By then, your outrageous behavior will make headlines. I heard your father is at a critical point in his promotion. If you don't want to affect him, don't provoke me. Whether from his injury or my threat, he looked unusually pale, his voice raspy. Vienna, I didn't mean you any harm. I just want you to come back to me. I found it ironic. Go back to being your hidden mistress? No, he denied. I called off the wedding with Serena. I won't marry her, and I won't let you be the other woman. I'd heard the Lucien and Shang family's wedding was lavish, attended by many elites. Thus, Lucien's last-minute escape caused a scandal, spreading far and wide. Serena was humiliated, becoming a laughingstock. Lately, she dared not even leave home, fearing ridicule. But what did that have to do with me? I no longer cared about her or Lucien. Lucien rambled on. Vienna, if you come back to me, I'll convince my grandfather and mother to let me marry you. If I can't persuade them, I won't marry anyone else. I'll spend my life with only you. Had I heard this 2 months ago, I would have been overjoyed. But belated promises held no meaning now. Lucien, I don't love you anymore, and I don't want to marry you. From now on, marry whoever you want. You don't need to tell me. Pain filled his eyes, yet he clung to hope. You kept our child. Doesn't that mean you still have feelings for me? His gaze fell on my slightly rounded abdomen. He pleaded almost desperately. Vienna, come home with me. From now on, I'll take care of you and our child. We'll be a happy family. I knew he must have investigated my pregnancy timeline to be so certain the child was his. Since that was the case, I saw no need to deny it and laid it out plainly. Lucien, stop flattering yourself. I kept this child for reasons that have nothing to do with you. The doctor said my health is poor, and I might never have another chance to be a mother. So, even if this child weren't yours, but someone else's, I would still have chosen to keep it. The corners of his eyes reddened. Tears seemed to well up as he deluded himself. I don't believe it. We've known each other for 18 years. Been together for 8. How could you not love me anymore? Together. I scoffed. When were we ever together? Didn't you say I was just a shameful plaything? I repeated his own words back to him. His face instantly turned ashen. His voice trembled. I was talking nonsense. I was angry you wanted to break up, so I spoke without thinking. Vienna, you're the only woman I've ever loved. My feelings for you were real. It was never just a game. I dismissed it scornfully. Lucien, that's not how you treat someone you love. All these years, staying by your side without any recognition, I've actually felt very wronged. But because I loved you, I always yielded to you, endured your occasional bad temper, anded you time and again. But now that I don't love you, what are you to me? Don't come looking for me anymore. I don't want to see you. I tried to leave, but he embraced me from behind. Vienna, don't go. He held me tightly, his voice tinged with a sob. I can change. Whatever you don't like about me, I'll change. I promise I'll treat you very, very well from now on. Please don't ignore me, okay? Let go. I raised my voice sharply. You don't need to change because I don't care about your good anymore. Understand? He refused to release me, his tone utterly humble. No, I beg you, don't ignore me. My patience ran out. I stomped hard on his foot with my heel. Due to my pregnancy, I wasn't wearing stilettos but shoes with a 3 cm heel. But putting all my strength into it, I made him loosen his grip in pain. Seizing the chance, I bit his wrist until it bled. Finally, the pain forced him to let go. I glared coldly at him. If you dare bother me again, don't blame me for being harsh. His eyes filled with deep sorrow as he looked at me, agonized and hopeless. Vienna, can't you really give me a chance? I was cold and resolute. No. Despite my firm refusal, Lucien still refused to give up. Apology messages flooded in one after another. He sent piles of jewelry and countless baby supplies. He even hired a drone team for a light show and confessed his love to me. Every night, he lingered outside my door. Honestly, his persistence annoyed me. After much thought, I realized I needed to take drastic measures to make him give up for good. One day, I stood before him. He nervously stubbed out his cigarette, his tone almost pleading. Vienna, did you need something? I got straight to the point. Lucien, if you harass me again, I will abort this child. He looked as if struck by lightning, his pupils shaking. No, please don't. I continued. If you insist on pestering me, this is the only way I can sever our last tie. Even if it means I can never be a mother again, I will have the abortion. I mean it. All color drained from his face. His lips trembled. Vienna, why are you so cruel to me? Why won't you give me any chance at all? I'll change whatever you don't like. I can give you whatever you want. Can't that make you look at me again? For the first time in his life, he was humbled to the dust. But I felt no sympathy. When love is gone, it's gone. Even if you gave me the whole world, I wouldn't want it. If you show up tomorrow, I will check into the hospital the day after. He looked down, dejected, as if his soul had been hollowed out. Finally, he smiled bitterly, tears streaming down his face. I understand. After that day, I never saw Lucien again. As time passed, my relationship with Kyle grew stronger. He treated me exceptionally well. He always put me first no matter what. When I lost my appetite for a while, he tirelessly learned to cook delicious meals just to get me to eat a few more bites. If I said I missed him, even if he was abroad on business, he would immediately book a flight to see me. He accompanied me to every prenatal checkup. My feelings for him naturally grew from fondness to love. When I told Kyle I loved him, he was stunned for a long moment before reacting, spoke in a state of overwhelming excitement. Vienna, thank you for choosing to love me. I found it amusing. Why do you always thank me? He thanked me when I married him. He thanked me when I loved him. He grinned foolishly. Because you are the best gift life has given me. Warmth flooded my heart. I stood on my toes and kissed his lips. Instantly, he blushed from his cheeks to the back of his neck. It was hard to believe that someone so popular with women could be so innocent. Feeling mischievous, I kissed him again. This time, he responded more easily, kissing me back gently. The atmosphere grew warm and intimate. Suddenly, the bedroom door opened. Vienna, Kyle, I washed some cherries for you. Kyle's mother's voice rang out unexpectedly. Kyle and I quickly separated. Kyle's mother glared at him reproachfully, pulling him aside to scold. Vienna is still pregnant. Control yourself. Don't do anything you shouldn't. Don't risk harming the baby. Kyle's face flushed again. He glanced at me sheepishly and said to his mother, Mom, stop. I understand. Seeing Kyle's awkwardness, I couldn't help but laugh. 4 months later, our daughter was born. Kyle worked from home for nearly 2 months, spending every day with me and our daughter. He was surprisingly good at caring for our baby. Even the maternity nurse remarked, there aren't many good men like Mr. Kyle. I smiled and nodded. Yes, I'm very lucky. Our daughter grew older. Every year on her birthday, an anonymous sender would mail her an exquisite gift. When she asked me who it was, I thought for a moment and told her, he's a distant relative of Mommy's. All these years, Lucien kept his promise and never disturbed me or our daughter. Thankfully, he was a man of his word, allowing our family of 3 to live in peace. After buying the durian millefeuille our daughter wanted, I held her hand as we left the store. Outside, Kyle stood on the steps, one hand in his pocket. Our daughter skipped over to him. Daddy! Kyle opened his arms, bent down, and swept her into a hug. Watching father and daughter so happy together, I couldn't help but smile. This was the life I had always dreamed of.